Hello YouTube and welcome back. This is the video for the build contest for Bane of Winter in the 1.1 patch. For those of you who don't know, we've been doing a build contest for quite a while now. We've done 10, 12, 15, 18, something along those lines, build contests, and all of those have been documented. So if you ever miss a build contest, you can check out a playlist on my YouTube channel. All of our build contests, the announcements, and the discussion after the fact with the winners are all cataloged there. In fact, if you want to see what other people have done in the past, you can always jump over into my Discord. In the bottom of my Discord, there's an archive section, and in the archive section is a list of all the brainstorming, all the conversations, all the build planners that people have ever done for the build contest that I've been running on my channels here. So this build contest this time around is for Bane of Winter. Going into it, a couple things that I want to say. There were so many choices for an item that we could use for the build contest this time around in patch 1.1. I think by and large, EHG knocked it out of the park with the unique items this time for this patch. They said that they added so many unique items in because there were so many harbingers, and they wanted each harbinger to have its own unique item drop, and just like awesome. I want to see stuff like that again. Like every single unique item was just a banger. Most of them. One was a quiver, but you know, quivers. So we chose Bane of Winter. For this build contest, I was choosing between like 2 or 3 different items. I was thinking Bane of Winter, the World Splitter Axe, which is like stacking mana for AoE and crit chance, and then Event Horizon, which is really slow but bonks really hard. And I think I suspect that I chose the worst of the 3 items, the ones that I was like kind of hovering around. But maybe we'll do another build contest in the future, depending on how long it takes for patch 1.2 to come our way. So this is the item here. We're going to look at 12 different builds. At the end of this video, you'll see that we do some voting. And I'm not going to trim that out of the video because it's a lot of effort. So just skip that past that when you get to that part of the YouTube video. So Bane of Winter here, it's got some interesting stuff going on. It's a spear, so we'll see. We have some physical and elemental penetration on it for the implicit. With this Void Winter Bolt, some people tried to build around this, some people ignored it, but the Void Winter Bolt has 600% damage effectiveness, and it scales with dexterity, which is kind of cool. In fact, we can hover over that right here, and you'll see that it scales with dexterity, 4% increased damage, attunement, 4% increased damage, and 600 damage effectiveness with hybrid cold void. So it's got 120 flat damage on it right there. So we're looking at this in lastdebuggtools.com. This is one of the Dan mining websites. It's got a lot of good information here. I will be shocked if we see someone who's using the Void Winter Bolt as a primary source of damage. I think it's just kind of fluff. Over time, what we've seen from EHG is that they tend to really rein in cooldown procs on items. Like, there's things that look really cool, but are just underpowered or have internal cooldowns. It can't quite carry your entire build. Things like Baladar's Wrath used to be a pinnacle item of Last Epoch, but all of a sudden it's got like a 5-second cooldown on it, and it's kind of fallen by the wayside with power creep. Things like Volcanus, the 2-handed sword that procs firebolts. They don't really do much damage, can't really scale it. Even in the past when it was good for different reasons. Even in the past when it was fine for different reasons. The Gaspar set of items, it's got this Decimate proc. Everyone who tries it all has the same reaction to it. And I suspect that if we see a build that uses these, the person will probably say something like, it wasn't great and I wish I had a different source of damage. If we find a build that makes me look like my foot is in my mouth, I'll be very surprised. Another key takeaway about this item is that it has cold damage taken as physical. That means that you could do something like a Morning Frost pair of boots, which gives you a cold res penalty per dexterity, and that the dexterity gives you flat damage, and the flat damage helps scale the Void Winter Bolt, and the penalty that you get for cold resistance, you ignore it. So you don't need to care about that at all. You just build Fizz res instead. We've got some flat damage here, some flat damage, and to me, the most interesting line of text, which is added melee damage applied it as added spell damage to cold and void spells. So you could add fire damage, but it only gets added to cold and void spells. You could add necrotic damage, but it only gets added to cold and void spells. So I suspect that we'll see people who found cold spells or void spells and tried to incorporate this as a means of scaling damage. I assume that we'll see a lot of Morning Frost builds. I think that Morning Frost is the big piece of synergy that this item brings to the game. But, you know, so here's what I did. I spent a lot of brain power trying to come up with what I wanted to do with this item. but you know, emotionally, my Serpent Venom, Swarm Blade, Serpent Strike build had just been nerfed into the ground, bug fixed, and I felt like I needed some. I felt like I needed some love, so I went to play one of my comfort foods, and I played a Void Knight instead. So I kind of abandoned my own build contest early, but thankfully there are plenty of people out there who did not, and they took a look at what they could do with this item, and they tried their best to scale the damage and make sweet builds out of it. So as a reminder, while we're talking, this is not a best build contest. This is not a who can one-shot the endgame boss the fastest contest. This is a sweet build contest. I encourage you who are watching live on twitch.tv to vote based on sweet interactions, out of the box thinking, and what builds have funny memes in their YouTube videos. No, what builds make you want to explore more. How about that? So first up, we have a video from Dread, another content creator. God bless him. So let's take a look at his video here. We're not going to watch the entire thing, but we will watch just a little tidbit of it. Let's do one of these.
Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, we're going to be going a build guide showcase for the Bane of Winter Spellblade.
Hot tip for those of you who never watched Dread before. I love Dread. Good guy. Co-host of my podcast. 1.75 speed.
So the concept around this build is to build around the new unique that came in with patch 1.1, Bane of Winter. This is a drop from the Herot Harbinger, and it's a pretty okay weapon. Most of its stats are irrelevant for what we're doing, although the cold damage taken as physical is nice. Mainly, we're utilizing it for the Void Winter bolts and for the flat damage added to cold and void spells. In this case, the cold spells are going to be like Ice Barrage and Morning and what is called Frostclaw. So of course, the idea is to utilize a melee attack to cast Frostclaw, and then use that Frostclaw to proc Ice Barrage, which then deals a lot of our single target damage. And we were trying to build around the Void Winter bolts. Sadly, I think the numbers on these things are insanely conservative for the more damage for time rot chance and stuff like that. These numbers are absolutely puny. I would be surprised if there was a bug fix and they swapped the two, where it was 10% more damage per time rot chance or something like that. As currently right now, the Void Winter bolts, they hit around like 20 to 30k on the dummy, which isn't that bad, but when you combine it with the trigger a few times every 2 seconds, that definitely reduces the viability of these things. But I was not like waylaid by such limitations as damage with this build, which was funny. Also as well, apparently during the time that I was planning on playing and leveling this build, Perry, a friend of mine, Perry the Pig, he decided to do a build contest like he normally does, and this time it's going to be, of course, of Bane of Winter. So I even had even more reason to play the build, and this is what I came up with. Now, if you haven't already, I would heavily suggest leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel, as that is the best way of currently supporting me, and the best way to show me that you want more videos like this one. Now, let's talk about the build. I'm going to be straight up blunt with you, just pure honesty. I don't think that this build is very good at all, to be honest with you. The Void Winter bolts themselves, they were very mediocre in terms of damage. I was very disappointed in their damage output, even though they still could kill trash. They were nowhere near enough to merit the usage of a two-handed spear. Thankfully, the line at the bottom, giving 40% of your flat damage as cold spell damage, was amazing in theory, as you could slam the Bane of Winter with T7 melee cold, and then all of a sudden you have like 250 melee cold, which is then halved, and that's added as, spell damage. And of course, that would have worked pretty well if I didn't go on a loss streak of 21 Bane of Winters that I bricked. If you don't know, I was trying to go for a 2 LP Bane of Winter with 1 melee cold T7 and 1 with attack speed, and I bricked 21 of them in a row, 21 2 LP Bane of Winters. They were
all right, so we have a good idea of what he's doing. We're going to take a look at his build planner as well, so we can kind of poke around. Remember, he said that, first of all, he doesn't think the build is very good. He is notably not using Morning Frost. He's not stacking Dexterity. There's a part of his video where he talks about this. I watched it ahead of time. He says that it's not worthwhile when you crunch all the numbers. Like, you're giving up too many other stats on your gear. You're giving up, like your spell damage affixes or your intelligence affixes. And it costs too much to incorporate Morning Frost in his build. I would have started this build personally with Morning Frost, and I'd try to figure out the rest of it. But he started with the spear and then tried to build up the rest of it. So I just would have approached him from a slightly different angle. I hope somebody else does this build with Morning Frost, because I kind of want to see what the damage output change looks like. So that is his build. He looks like he has 96 intelligence, 31 dexterity, and the dexterity is mainly used for percent increased damage percent increased damage as a spell blade. There's a brand new node that just got added to the game. So that's what he's doing here. He said the single target was fine, the clear was kind of mopey, but I do love the idea of using Frostclaw, because Frostclaw has this damage, like spell damage per 3, melee damage 3, so it's 1 per 1. So something like Morning Frost would have worked well here, but instead he just went with a huge amount of flat damage from the Bane of Winter itself, because he slammed a whole bunch of 2 LPs trying to make his thing in Merchant's Guild. So that was his approach to it. We're going to hopefully just keep up the pace and keep going. So he's attacking with Mana Strike. Mana Strike is proccing Frost Claw here off the Makwahuitl node, and also off of the new node that just got added to the game in patch 1.1, this Warden's Echo. So it's like a, I'd say 20, 30, 50% chance on melee hit to cast Frostclaw. Cool. And then those will also cast his Ice Barrage for him. So you're just proccing a whole bunch of spells. And I think that's a pretty neat approach to it. I like it. Hope somebody else tries out the Morning Frost version, but you know, let's keep going. See, Bane of Winter, Spear does stuff. This build is sweet because it's probably one of the only more meta ways of setting up Bane of Winter. Yes, this is like my first idea when I saw Bane of Winter, like something along these lines. If you can call that as Frostclaw with Glamdring, double dips on the added melee damage nodes as well, 300-ish flat damage for Frostclaw. Very cool. Rate it like IGN, a solid 7 out of 10. That's got a little something for everyone. Build number 2 is user Yamanoki. We can take a look at this build planner. Yeah, it's another Spellblade. Cool. So this person says, unlike every other Spellblade that I've seen discussing so far that uses int, this build stacks dexterity and uses Morning Frost. Cool. So we have no ward retention, so the base defenses are mainly health plus endurance. This person has about 1800 health, which is a little bit low, but yeah, you know. With so few mage-only idols that actually do anything useful, that entire part of the build can be used for smaller idols just with percent health. Build uses mainly Shatter Strike, augmented by Enchant Weapon for damage, with occasional Frostclaw procs to cleanse bleeds and generate more ward. So it looks like they're probably using the Diathane's Bloody Nib. Cool. Yeah. You're inflicted with bleed whenever you hit anything with Shadow Strike. Cold Penetration with Shadow Strike. Per stack of bleed on you. Monk Omega. Build uses Shatter Strike. Yeah, we said this. Surge is a nice traversal option. Sure. Flame Ward in a pinch. Got it. Okay, so let's take a look at their build planner. I will remind you that if you are one of the people submitting builds to these build contests, Twitch chat is the one voting, and Twitch chat do like videos. So it's hard to just look at a build and assess it versus somebody else's video. So I always recommend having some kind of recording if you're interested in winning, because I like looking at builds, but if you want to win, you should probably just have a video that goes along with it. So this person is building their 136 dexterity. So again, they're ignoring cold res because you're allowed to do that with Bane of Winter. 100% of cold damage taken as physical. And then they have some Fizz res here as well. I'm assuming there's like a Fizz res blessing. Holy crap, there's no Fizz res blessing. This person doesn't give a fuck. Okay, let's look at their gear. 2 LP Prismatic Gaze, Enchant Weapon, Dexterity, Shatter Strike, Health, stuff, cooldown, stuff, Dexterity. Holy crap, dude. In the future, we should ask people whether they're COF or Merchant's Guild, because I'd be interested in that. So their Frostclaw is set up basically exactly the same, but they're not doing any of the Ice Barrage stuff. I'm also curious they're not taking Volley of Glass. I feel as though Volley of Glass would have been really strong here. But again, we don't have a video, so we don't know how their damage differs from someone like Dread, which is the video that we watched before. So, cool. I like it. I don't know too much about it. That's it. Oh, you know what? I'm actually interested by this. They don't have the crit chance per intelligence. Huh. Not having the crit chance per intelligence means they have to use this Prismatic Gaze. But, like, I don't know, man. I definitely would have tried to go, like, Dex and Intelligence in a build. Like, do you really need 136, or could you go like 80-80 or 90-90, and get some intelligence as well? Because like this node, I feel like this node in patch 1.1 is awesome. I think it's so good, because most of your damage scales percent increased damage off intelligence, and this thing also gives you like ward retention. Yeah, I would have liked to see a crossover between those two ideas. But all right, there we go. Yeah, they're only Dex all the time. That's the idea with this. All right, so that's build number 2. Build number 3. Oh, I love the idea of this because I had a build that I wanted to play, but it never got bug fixed. So we're gonna have some big brains coming in for this one. This is Gavarian crit singularity, which means you can't crit. Chaos Bolt Harvest Warlock. Deal. Let's read first, and then we'll watch a video. making a build that I wanted, something that really made the weapon shine. I tried Falconer to be hipster, but it was really just Shadow Daggers being OP. Boring. So my criteria for him was that I needed both spell and attack damage to be relevant. So he really tried to be hybrid. Most people will land on Morning Frost for this to double dip, plus free cold res, cool. I looked at Reaper of Mayhem from Chaos Bolts. This let me double dip on the scaling dexterity to proc Harvest off of the Chaos Bolts. Additionally, you don't need a lot of cast speed because most of your casts are from Chthonic Fissure, which is nice for a spear base because you don't need to care about putting LP attack speed on it. But I still wanted to be a hipster even more. So enter the old Acid Bane plus Singularity combo. For those unfamiliar, big brain moment. Singularity says you cannot deal crits, and Acid Bane says the enemies have a % increased chance to receive a crit. Since the Singularity mod is a crit strike modifier, it gets ignored. It works really well here because you only need crit damage for single targets, and they're getting hit by fissures anyways. So that's a really interesting workaround. You can get it up to 100, but I imagine they're probably leaving it like 20 or something. So let's take a video. Let's take a look at the video, and then we'll poke around with like their good planner up here. Let's take a look at this. All right. Shoot something. YouTube. I'm going to pull it up on YouTube just in case there's quality settings. Quality? Quality? There's no quality settings. All right. Sting to me. Look at that mana. It's beautiful. It's so good. I appreciate that the video is not like zoom, go as fast as you fucking can, transplant off cooldown, use evade constantly. Like, I want to see the enemies because I want to see them taking damage. You know what I mean? It's a demonstrative video. Is there a single target encounter somewhere? Looks like toward the end. Let's fast forward. Look at those crits. Crits in a Singularity build. You love to see it, don't you? It's a really neat idea. I like it. Boop. All right, let's take a look at their gear and kind of poke around just a little bit. We will close this out and go to the good gear planner. Let's see. So they're playing on Warlock, hopefully with like 2200 life, maybe 2300 life. They are Dexterity, Spirit Frequency with Chthonic Fissure. Dexterity, chance for extra bolts when you directly cast Chaos Bolts. I wonder how often they're directly casting it. And then tier 7, flat damage on the Bane of Winter itself. Cool, cool, cool. So remember, their Chthonic Fissure procs Chaos Bolts, their Chaos Bolts proc Harvest, and then Harvest 3 times per 2 seconds can proc the Void Winter Bolt as well. So it's a lot of spell damage and melee damage, which is pretty neat. Some Morning Frost as well. 117 Dexterity in the good planner here. So this is like not what they actually had, but this is what their idea was. Orb of Decay being used for, I guess maybe they're toggling it on and off. I think they're toggling it on and off. Maybe? Maybe they're not. Because the toggle on and off gives you a bunch of health regen, but maybe they're not using that. Maybe they're only using it for poison res. Sure. Reduced armor. Beautiful. So Harvest, more damage against stuff. Hit damage per poison on the enemy. Got it. Transplant, applying Bone Curse. We're not speccing into Bone Curse, but just having more curses on the enemy is nice because we're playing a Warlock. Chaos Bolts dealing hit-based crit damage. And then proccing, and then Chthonic Fissure over here with the technology for making you crit even with the Singularity on. Cool. I like it. That's a pretty good one. Increase poison damage idols. They're not a poison damage build. Oh, wait. Monka? Wait, are they? Increase poison damage while... Oh! What a fool. What an absolute fool to forget my own piece of technology. Yeah, it's increased poison damage while Orb of Decay is active. And of course, the increased poison damage becomes this. This is... my face is in the way. Hold on. Yeah, it's this node down here. Your hits against enemies cursed by acid skin have additional base critical strike chance per 10% of your global increased poison damage. Yeah, got it. So this bonus critical strike chance is not affected by other crit strike modifiers. And other crit strike modifiers include Singularity. Got it. Okay. So Singularity is a crit strike modifier. This thing ignores it. It's so cool. All right, man, I really wish I could play my build that is still bugged. You know what? I don't actually know if the build that I wanted to play is still bugged. In any case, that is build number 3. So we had Dread first, we have Yamanoki, and then Gavarian. Let's take a look at build number 4, chat, and see what's going on here. This one does have a video, God bless. So this is user Imperio Fortis. They're an Icicle, Storm, Frozen, Shrapnel, Spellblade. So we have another Spellblade character. They say, initially, wanted to just go pure melee classic Spellblade with Bane being a subsidiary source of damage, and then negation source for Morning Frost, but they tried investing into the full spell part of it. Oh man, did they go spell Icicle Shatter Strike? I hope so. It turned out very fun. Single target seems so far not as good. The clear is ridiculous. Icicle, full screen. Focus is very clear oriented. Procs on procs with procs. My gear is not very good. Couldn't really play much because I had IRL stuff going on. So they just reached Aberoth. Cool. But the build certainly looks like it has potential to be very fun in terms of clear speed, even though single target won't be as good. Won't be as good, which will be fixed once I get a decent relic. This build in the showcase needs way more attack speed and some damage scalers. Besides that, spell mage with full screen particles turned out way more fun than I imagined, and survivability won't be an issue once we get much more DR and ward. It's exciting. I'm glad that somebody tried this out. That's good. Let's take a look at their video here. I'm gonna mute it because, you know, YouTube and stuff. What do you got? Sing to me. So this is empowered monos. I didn't see the corruption. What corruption is this? 125. All right, got it. Beautiful. We're just gonna watch in silence. Look at those icicles. Look at how much damage they deal. I think the icicles shotgun. I think so. I think I remember someone saying something like they shotgun if they all originate inside of a target that has a large hitbox. I think there's something like that. If there's people who want to do science on their own time, you can investigate that. But that sounds familiar to me. I think they shotgun. So the icicles are basically a meme for 99% of people who play Shatterstrike. One interesting thing about the icicles is that in Rune Master, there's a note that says chance to frostbite on hit with cold spells. And the icicles are a cold spell, but Shatterstrike is not a cold spell. So if you did like a frostbite Shatterstrike using that particular node, you could be like a spell or a spell frostbite build as well. So that's something that I would consider poking around with if I enjoyed Shatterstrike. But personally, I don't like the playstyle. It's a really strong build. Shatterstrike is a very, very strong skill. But I just personally don't like it. But that's more of my personal lore. Is there a good boss kill somewhere? Looks like there's a boss kill right here. Okay, let's go take a look at the boss kill. Or just like the first, 15, 20 seconds of it. And then we'll see their gear. They said their build needs way more attack speed. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But like, remember the story of Dread at the very beginning of this video was Dread spending 21, or he bought 21 2LPs before he got the one that he wanted. And you kind of want tier 7 flat and tier 7 or tier 5 attack speed, or tier 7 attack speed, tier 5 flat. Something along those lines. But like, man, even with the screen shake, it looks like it's doing work, I could see a min-max version of this build. I could see it. Let's pull this off to the side. They had a build planner as well, so this is what they were trying to do. Titan Heart, Bone Clamor Barbet. So they had 118 dexterity and 50 intelligence, and they were taking the crit node. I like to see that. They have some procs on procs with the Frostclaw node. I wonder if they're specking into the Frostclaw node. We'll see. A couple points here, a couple points there. Usanoi's is never going to be active, right? Usanoi's probably not worthwhile. Attunement equal to your intelligence. Yeah. Probably. Yo, actually, they said that they were interested in getting a different relic. So, gotcha. Siphon of Anguish. Sure. Let's see. Shatter Strike. All the blades over here. Some attack speed stuff. Enchant Weapon. Flame Ward for damage reduction. Frost Claw stuff. I feel like if I were gonna have Frost Claw at all, I would definitely spec into the ailment stuff, by the way. Again, it's totally insane just being ailment immune. Just like Path of Exile, dude. Alright. We'd like to see it. Click. Let's pull this off to the side. We're gonna have our next build here, which is Wander. We have a live character, and then an Aberoth kill. Ooh, should we do the Aberoth kill first? Okay, let's. Fine. We'll read first, and then we'll do the Aberoth kill. So they say, before you roll your eyes, fine. I'd like to claim that I was the first one in the Discord to find this build and this combo. I posted a planner on 7.5 in general chat when the patch notes were released. I believe this submission is the best iteration of the build. So with that out of the way, there's nothing too interesting. So you want tier 7 attack speed on the Bane of Winter. 100 dexterity, 70 intelligence. Gives you approximately max crit. Good. CDR, Morning Frost. If I had a random guess what my damage meter would look like, it'd be like 60% Shatter Strike melee damage, 25% Frost Claw, 10% Void Winter, 5% Mana Strike. My defenses could be much better, but this is not the endgame version of the build. I was able to kill Aberoth quickly, and that was my goal. I tried Ice Spikes. They suck. Wait. Get them. All right, so let's take a look at all the shade they're throwing on the build that we just looked at. No, let's take a look at their Aberoth kill and see how it's going. All right, we're going to mute that as well and just take a look. Poke. Get him. I want to watch the video with the audio turned on. I don't mind the damage. The damage actually looks fine. The thing that I'd be worried about here is like, can we take a hit off of anything? It's like not those big balls there. Are you just getting hit with as many balls as possible? Why? Yeah, so what I'd be interested in is like if we get like hit by like a damage over time effect, or if we can we tank one of the slams? Like when he does like forward side to side. Is there anything here that we can tank? Because if we could tank something, then we get rewarded with like much higher DPS. Like that slam right there. I wonder like, can we tank that? Because we only have 1,000 health and 3,000 ward. And like our ward generation is not insane. If we can tank a single hit, then we get rewarded with like much higher DPS uptime. Cool. Honestly, the damage looks fine. Let's pull that off to the side. And there was a build planner as well. So let's pull this thing up. They went, yo, 4 LP Kestrel. I can appreciate that. Tier 7 dexterity, Shatter Strike, armor, physical damage stuff, +1 in dexterity skills. The Bane of Winter has tier 7 attack speed. I don't know if this is real gear or just what they is this current? Does this say current gear? Live character. Okay, this is a live character. That's pretty sick. Seconds of stun immunity after teleport. Using. Oh, then they didn't grab it over here. Okay, I don't mind this at all. I love stun immunity. So they're mostly a Shatter Strike melee crit build. And they don't like the icicles at all. Got it. One of the things that I'm thinking about in the back of my head is which of these builds is like, I'm going to say the word bad, but relax, okay? Which of these builds like a bad version of something else? And this is something that I keep in mind with the builds that I play as well. I want my builds not to be strictly worse versions of something else. I want them to be interesting in some way. I want them to have standout features. So like right now I'm playing like an EQ Druid. And it's like, is my EQ Druid strictly worse than a Beastmaster EQ build? It's like, well, it's got different stuff going on. It's got some transformation stuff going on, which gives you damage reduction. It's not strictly worse. But, you know, it's, yeah. So one of those things that I'm looking at with the Spellblade build is like, I know that Shadow Strike is a very good skill. If we weren't Bane of Winter and like we just like kept the rest of our gear, how would our damage look? Like what would happen here? And I think the icicles are interesting because the icicles are like a spell damage component. They also scale off of the added melee damage applied to like cold spells. So I think the icicles are like a more interesting take on how to like hybridize the Morning Frost and the spear and to justify the inclusion of it in a build instead of just like being a melee crit build. Like, it's fine. The damage is good. The defense looks fine. But I'm thinking like what's like the best use case for Bane of Winter? So that's what's going on in my head right here. Sorry, Wander, if you feel like I'm calling you out, but I know you can take it. Let's go on to the next build. This is the third Spartan. Let's see what they got going on. They're playing Voidwinter Bolt Warpath. What? Done. All right. Goal of the build was to use Voidwinter Bolts for the majority of damage as the auto-targeting projectiles feel good. I ended up settling on Warpath as the melee attack. Its inherent mobility was the least clunky, sure. I went all in on the Void theme, focused on scaling flat and melee Void damage. I actually think this is neat. I don't think that this build needs to have Morning Frost in it, because you already have like sigils could give you generic damage, which like goes to both spell and melee attack, and then like your vitality damage scaling works out pretty well. Yeah, I hope this build doesn't have Morning Frost in it. So that's what I've been thinking about. Boss damage carried by volatile reversal. Yep, sure. It's still bugged in the drawer fight. Just count to 2 or count to 4 in your head. It's not really bugged. It is bugged, but it's not really bugged. Locket of the Forgotten Knight is cute. It's mostly a meme, but it checks all the boxes, and a sizable amount of my damage comes from the bolts. I can't wait to see how much damage this build does. Yeah. All right, so they have a build planner and a video. Let's see the video first. Show me. Stuff. Got it. Stuff and things. Take a look at a build planner as well. They're 200 corruption, totally fine. $2,300 life. And they're spinning around. It feels like they have screen shake turned on. Do they have screen shake turned on? Or is it just like a tiny bit jittery? Yikes, the damage. I kind of like it. This, you think it's jittery? Yeah, I think the video itself is jittery. Remember, if you're playing VK Warpath, you should be going in a circle around single target in order to make a triangle of your echoes. It is the optimal thing to do. Okay, so let's watch. This is tier 4 Julra. It definitely is screen shake, right? They got one echo there. Wow, VK Warpath against Julra is awful. You can't go in a circle. Oh no! Everything that I just said is like, yeah, you have to go in a circle to maximize your echoes and your DPS. But you can't because... Oh no! So anyways, melee characters, action RPGs, tale as old as time. Okay, cool. I actually like the idea a lot. This is a very bad demonstration of damage because, you know, melee action RPGs. Is there a Harbinger here? There's no Harbinger here. Got it. Honestly, like a Shade of Erebus would have been a nice scenario, right? But okay, that's fine. I kind of like the idea. Let's take a look at their build here. So no Morning Frost, got it. Paranoia for some reason, got it. So Ravenous Void, Locket. So something that they noted in their description stands out to me. They said The purpose of Warpath is to apply Time Rot. Remember, Time Rot does almost nothing. So Time Rot for Warpath, it allows you to deal more damage. So more hit damage per Time Rot. But it's important for me to point out that on Bane of Winter, it says more Void Winter Bolt damage per 10% uncapped Time Rot chance with melee attacks. This only counts generic Time Rot chance. So things like you might find on your idols, since you apply Time Rot on hit, or things like this, even though I think this node is bugged. Remember, that does not count skill-specific sources of Time Rot. So applying Time Rot to the enemy is good because it makes Warpath hit damage higher, but the Time Rot chance from Warpath has nothing to do with Bane of Winter's more damage. So just note that. I assume they know that, but the way they worded it makes it sound confusing. So let's take a look at the rest of this. Null Portent, love it. Crit chance on a crab. Crit chance here. Vitality, cooldown, recovery speed. Love it, love it. Melee void damage. Yeah, melee void damage. So where's their crit chance coming from? They have no flat critical strike chance. Oh, I guess they have 5? Yeah, they have 5 flat crit because they're using a spear here. That's interesting. Not bad. Nothing here because, you know, Lamau. They have mana per 3 seconds. All right. So they're really more of a melee build. Like, they're not taking spell damage while spinning or anything like that. They're primarily a melee damage build. But they're also going pew pew. The pew pews looked appropriate. I kind of liked it. Is there anything relevant here? I like the flat crit because we're using a spear. Nothing up here because sentinels don't know how to use spears. And yeah, I like the looks of it. Cool. Good idea. I like skipping out on morning hours. Oh, actually, do they have sigils? They don't have sigils. So one of the things that I called out was like sigils with, like, the sigils by default give you your spells and attacks deal 3 additional fire damage, and then like more fire damage per active sigils, like additional flat fire damage per active sigil. And that the fact that it's like it does kind of the same thing that Morning Frost does, where it gives you both fire, or it gives you both melee damage and spell damage. It kind of role plays a Morning Frost in that it kind of double dips for the last line of text in Bane of Winter. So if I were going to take this build and try to like iterate on it, I would experiment with sigils over something. I don't know. But I like the idea. Pretty cool. Let's keep going. We got a few more of these to go. I think like maybe 4 or 5 more. So this is from H2O. H2O says, we are using Forge Guard, converting dodge to armor, as well as dodge to endurance threshold. We convert all of our overcapped endurance threshold into ward decay threshold, all with a wall of nothing. Sick. Yeah, wall of nothing, Vessel of Strife. Very cool. They're using Bane of Winter's Winter Bolts to double scale our armor from chilled and blinded targets from the buffed Snowblind unique helmet. Cool. Since Forge Guard does not have a cold skill. Just have a cold skill. You don't need a cold skill to apply chill. I'm worried that there's an underlying assumption here that you do and you don't. So you can chill with anything in the game, chat. As long as you hit, you can apply chill. Since we have to stand still to convert dodge to endurance threshold using the foot of the mountain unique pair of boots, we can utilize 150% penetration and javelin to deal damage while staying safe. Huh? What is this? Javelin. Oh. Javelin gains physical and lightning penetration for each second you've been standing still. You just stand still for 2.5 seconds? You're a lunatic. We can also launch to targets, immobilize them, Molotov reversal back, have a safe distance, slow stop. The build is sweet because we're using a lot of conversion mechanics that surprisingly work sometimes. And utilizing Winter Bolt to scale our armor. Yeah, okay. Sure. Let's watch a video and then we'll poke around the build. What is this?
Hey, it's H2O for the Bane of Winter contest. I decided to do a Forge Guard Javelin.
That was a lot of damage. I like where we're at so far. I do like the damage.
Build, converting all of our dodge rating stacking into armor, so we can stack some end game armor here. The way we're going to do that though is a little different. We're going to actually convert all of our dodge rating into armor, and then all of our dodge rating as well into endurance threshold while we're standing still. And then we're going to also use Wall of Nothing to convert all the rest of our endurance threshold into ward decay threshold. So it's going to give us some wards, some endurance threshold, ward decay threshold. And the whole point of this build for the mountain is to reduce the mana cost of javelins so we can throw javelins continuously. So we're going to use the forceful hurl node that gives 150% penetration just for our javelin for standing still. So it's kind of all working together to do all those wonderful combinations to do massive damage. Some ways we're going to actually scale our dodge is in the volatile reversal node. We can actually scale dodge when we use volatile reversal. And then we can also scale our dodge based on using the Sigils of Hope by having a maximum of those. So we actually overcap the endurance threshold, which, believe it or not, does continue to give us ward decay threshold from Wall of Nothing. So by overcapping it, we actually can get more ward than we actually have. We actually have health. So to the bread and butter of the build, the Bane of Winter, we're going to actually use the cold damage taken as physical reduction, so we can just bypass that defensive capability and invest elsewhere. And then we're also going to use the most important line is using the Void Winter Bolts. We're not going to scale the damage because it doesn't proc fast enough, and we're not doing any really void spells or cold spells, but we are going to use the cold tag. The cold tag is going to then proc the newly buffed Snowblind to give massive amounts of armor against chilled and blinded enemies. And since Forge Guards don't have cold spells, we actually can then double multiplicatively scale our armor. So we're going to convert dodged armor, endurance threshold to ward decay threshold, and then at the end of the conversion, double our multiplicative armor just by standing still. So that's the idea of the build. It worked pretty well. I actually leveled this entire thing. Well, leveled after I was able to unlock Wall of Nothing in Bane of Winter in the 80s, but I went through the monoliths, the empowered monoliths with it, and killed some bosses, some harder bosses. I was able to kill the two bosses right before Aberoth, and then Aberoth. Kill some bosses, some harder bosses. I was able to kill the two bosses right before Aberoth, and then Aberoth, you don't want to stand still, you just die to everything. So I did use Vessel.
I'm muted. I know I'm muted. I know I'm muted. I know I'm muted. Wait. That looked pretty good. Oh. Oh, right here. Whoa,
Right
whoa, whoa,
before
whoa, whoa.
Aberoth, and then Aberoth, you don't want to stand still, you just die to everything. So I did use Vessel of Strife as well in this build, though I ran into some interesting bug to say the least. So yeah.
What
Perry,
the fuck is this? What is, he's over here like, oh man, what? He's like, oh, this is a really cool demonstration of what's happening here.
I did use Vessel of Strife as well in this build, though I ran into some interesting bug to say the least. So
and then what the fuck is all of this? Wait, how come he's not taking damage? You bugged out? You were invulnerable? Yeah, you sure did. What the fuck? How are you invulnerable? Oh.
Die to everything. So I did use Vessel of Strife as well in this build, though I ran into some interesting.
Also, for build creators out there, Vessel of Strife plus Wall of Nothing, I love it. Use it more.
Interesting bug to say the least. So yeah, Perry, how do you cleanse these circles on the ground? You say you can cleanse this. Let me know. So obviously this is a bugged interaction here at the end, and I took it off the build and used just a javelin plus 4 relic. But outside of those boss fights,
I wait, what's the bug? Vessel bugs the build? You sent it to EHG? Sure, okay. So there's a bug with Vessel of Strife plus Wall of Nothing? Or is it a bug with Vessel of Strife, Wall of Nothing, and the boots? Okay, so there's something around there is bugged. I'm very interested. This person also said, how do you cleanse the pools? I want to point out for people who want to be geniuses, despite asking me in this video how to cleanse a pool, they also cleansed a pool during this video. So I'm just going to point that out for you. Let's take a look at their build in LE Tools. Wall of nothing. Not even an LP. Come on, dude. Melee lightning damage? Melee lightning damage? What the fuck? Oh, lightning damage because they're a lightning javelin build, huh? Wait, are they? No, they're not lightning javelin build. Throwing attack. Why lightning melee damage? Shouldn't it be... It's physical throwing area strength. It should be flat fizz, right? Okay, gotcha. Rebuke, because you're a mad lad who actually uses this skill. Sigils, I think, is a great choice. If you, again, like we just talked about the flat damage stuff. That's cool. Lunge, not taking the invulnerability, but instead taking the smite plus Pylum Assault, which procs your lunge for you. You could try this with smite as well. There was a VK idea that we talked about early on. It's basically like this entire build, but then you go Void Knight, you convert your smite to Void, and because it's Void, it works with the final line of text on Bane of Winter. I hope somebody explores that, because we're close to it with this build. But I like it. I like what's going on here. What is the Bane of Winter doing for us? It's allowing us to skip Cold Res. It casts some Void Winter Bolt, but we're not really using that. I think this build might just be better if we didn't use the Bane of Winter. I like what's going on with the defenses. I like helmet, body armor, boots, relic. But in the video, it seemed like they were describing this as a way of getting chill. But like we could just get chill from... Because we really don't have that many sources of chill, do we? But like you'd LP chill as a suffix. You can get a chill blessing. Is there anything else that... Oh, you know what applies chill? Osirian. Osirian is a great unique ring that has chance to chill on hit, chance to shock on hit, more damage per sec of shock on the enemy, less damage taken from enemies. So I think an Osirian probably fulfills the same chill that we're looking for here. Yeah. Snowblind requires a cold skill. It does not require a cold skill. It says against blinded enemies and against chilled enemies. It doesn't matter how you blinded them or how you chilled them. But it's cute. I understand the interaction. It's not unique to Bane of Winter. We could just have chill or blind from any other source as well. But cool build. I like it. Let's keep going. Next up is a Warpath build. Okay, so we saw one of these. This person says, disclaimer, this build low-key sucks. It's cool. All right. Using Smite converted to Void without converting it to Skill with Vitality. Sure. Okay. Does that convert it to Void? Smite converted to Void. Sure. Got it. So that's the first part of the VK skill tree. Smite converted to Void without converting to Vitality. We can scale Attunement and Void damage and increase Void Winter Bolt damage, which scales off Attunement, and Smite damage, which scales off Attunement. Okay, got it. Cool. Procking Smite off of Warpath, Javelin, and Axe Throwing nodes. We smite a lot. Oh, I wonder if they're using the Relic. They might be. We'll see. I tested a Paladin, a Forge Guard version of this build, and Paladin felt way too squishy. VK was also considered, but we really only gained Time Rot chance. Gotcha. I capped out at 250 corruption. Tier 4 Jeweler took forever, so the build was kind of below average. I think it'd be better as an ailment build, perhaps. Got it. Let's take a look at their timeline boss here and see how it looks, and then we'll poke around their planner as well. I'm going to skip to the actual boss fight. Is it this? Okay. Does the damage suck? I don't know. I think it's fine. Where's the Harbinger? Boop. I'm really curious to look at their build planner. Area Javelin underrated. The Area Javelin is good. Like, again, it's one of those things that I'm not a big fan of, but they said they're scaling attunement. Scaling attunement with Area Banner gives you percent increased damage per attunement globally. And then it gives you, like, endurance threshold or something. It's like, you know, relevant defense. Okay, so we got a good idea of what's going on with the build. But I want to see... Let's go, like, ideal gear. Let's take a look at their ideal gear. I want to see this. So this is their idea about what is the best here. So they are using Vortex Pennant. That's something that I called out there. Throwing an axe, proccing stuff. Let's see. They have axe thrower nodes. Sure. Crit, reduction, stuff. They're taking all the nodes, throwing void damage, spell void damage, melee void damage, all of it. Yeah, I wonder if you like clean this up a little bit. I feel like focusing on the melee void and letting the melee void scale into your spells from the Void Winter, or from the Bane of Winter. I think like that'd be my approach. Blind here is relevant, sure. They're stacking attunement, so they're Warpath, mana cost, smite, stuff here. So they're proccing smites. And smites with all of these nodes, sure. Javelin proc smite as well. So it's all void smites. Javelin, okay, good. Javelin, void damage. With like all these nodes. I'm a fan of that. So they're a void damage attunement spell crit, I guess. They could, let's see. So Javelin's nice for single target. I'm thinking about like Holy Aura, because like Holy Aura has a spell proc in it, but it's only a fire spell proc, but it's really good at clearing packs of monsters. I wonder, I don't know, like the fire spell version kind of reminds me of like Polaris, the one-handed sword that just got introduced to the game, and that's like, you know, like Polaris plus Firestarter's Torch, you know, spell, fire, crit, Holy Aura proc, stuff like that. I think my brain might be thinking too much about that. Let's see. I think my brain might be thinking too much about that. Also, we're Forge Guard. Lamau. I forgot. Wait a minute. We're Forge Guard. Got it. Okay. 270 attunement, 70 attunement, huh? Attunement void damage. That's so cool. Attunement void damage. Smite on hit with throwing attacks. Smite on hit with throwing attacks. You know, smite on hit with throwing attacks with a Vortex Pennant is kind of interesting because it doesn't proc too much, right? And like the buff to these things makes them like much easier to use. On the other hand, if we dropped these, we could use like a bunch of double health idols. But like, admittedly, you do have a ton of life here. It's like up to 4,300. Like this is like the ideal version of the build, right? It's a cool one. I said that I wanted to see someone poking around with like void smites, with like sigils of hope and not using Morning Frost. And here we have someone who's poking around with it. So I like it. I like seeing it. You tried Holy Aura. It wasn't great, even with Flame Burst. Gotcha. Okay. Let's keep going. Next build up here is Jack Frost. Let's see. Void Knight, Void Winter. Got it. CUF. Okay. In the future, we're gonna ask people to qualify, like, or I guess describe whether they're CUF or Merchants Guild. So they said try to make Void Beams work. Oh, sick. Okay. Void Beams, Abyssal Echoes both scale off Vitality, Void, Spell, Dot. Awesome. Erasing Strike would trigger a bunch of Void Beams, which just got buffed in patch 1.1, while casting Abyssal Echoes at every opportunity. Volatile Reversal helps to give us insane damage. Siphon of Anguish keeps us alive with a void damage leases health. Sure. Shatter Change uses the Doom to scale our melee damage more. Yes. Atrophy scales Abyssal Echoes, Void Beams, Doom, Void Penetration. Inevitable with Erasing Strike as much as possible. Oh, sure. Okay. Gotcha. Inevitable is a pair of boots, less damage taken while using Erasing Strike. Javelin is there primarily to help us move through monoliths faster. Lunge might be better, but I thought Javelin was more appropriate considering getting Bane of Winter. Okay. Build concerns. Mana. Got it. Okay, so probably should be like stacking maximum mana and using like crits, right? Like crit plus the void essence stuff is probably what you want to do in terms of mana. I struggle figuring out how to set up effective defenses in the last epoch, so that's probably on me. Mana is a big issue. You blow through all of your mana in 3 seconds. Yeah, you probably need to go like plus maximum mana, right? So let's take a look at the video first. I like this. I'm glad someone did this. Ooh, edited content? Ooh, I should figure out how to make text do that. I feel like I should do that too. So this is, like, Erasing Strike is a melee skill, which makes use of, like, the melee components of Bane of Winter. But then it also has that pretty well scalable void damage over time beam, the Void Beam. So it's like, this is one of the questions you need to answer, right? Like, how do you work with a hybrid weapon? How do you do, like, melee damage and spell damage at the same time? Are you Shatter Strike? Are you Morning Frost? Are you Frost Claw? Frost Claw kind of bridges the gap between melee damage and spell damage. This kind of makes you want to ask, what's the best possible version of, like, this? Like, if you took Bane of Winter out of the equation and you just said, hey, I want to play Void Beams, and maybe for clear speed, you could use Shield Rush, because Shield Rush is another melee skill that creates Void Beams, and those Void Beams travel in front of you and behind you. It's like a tiny bit buggy, but, you know, it's a possibility. Maybe Erasing Strike is, like, sufficient single target, or sufficient AoE clear, because it really is pretty good clear for, like, tons of trash monsters, isn't it? Yeah. You know what? This is cool, isn't it? Bonk, bonk, bonk. I think it's pretty neat. Actually, is there a boss later in this video? There is. Okay, let's see a boss. This is 100 corruption, boss kill. Got it. And remember, this is not a build contest to, like, one-shot bosses. This is a build contest of sweet ideas. Like, is there something here? Is this worth iterating on? Can we keep working on it? Is this a good use of the item? Like, even the item, it seems fine in this scenario. It seems like it's a good job of bridging the gap between melee and spell. But all of a sudden, I'm a little bit curious about, you know, if we took Bane of Winter out of this build and we tried to min-max it, would we end up back on Bane of Winter? I wonder. All right, so that's cool. Let's take a look at their build planner as well. Click on this thing. Whoop. So Bane, yeah, Peak of the Mountain, fine. So Peak of the Mountain gives you a bunch of critical strike chance so that you can do the mana stuff, and then you're going to leech off damage over time, because damage over time is primarily your damage. I doubt Shattered Chains is required here. I would call myself a Void dot build, and then just, like, not worry about Shattered Chains. I do think Scythe English is fine. Like, otherwise, it gives you a bunch of leech, movement speed. It's on a good base type, and you get this thing with, like, 2 or 3 LP. But, yeah, like the Doom. Chat, as someone who's built around Doom a lot, don't build around Doom. Let's see. So they have Anomaly for a bunch of leech. And they spec into these nodes as well. Increased void damage taken. Cool. Volatile Reversal for all the increased damage taken. Love it. Javelin. Next melee attack mana cost -20. Sure. What is Javelin doing for us? Not much. I don't think it's doing much, is it? How much attunement do we have? Yeah, I don't think Javelin's really doing much. It's just like your choice of movement skill here, right? They said lunge might be better as well. Like Javelin, if you're a smite build, I completely understand. If you're an attunement build, I get it. But like otherwise, you know. Yeah. All right. So Erasing Strike, bonk, bonk, bonk. 3 points in here. Bunch of crit in Anomaly, even though you're a Void dot build. They went for Armor Shred. Instead of the Armor Shred stuff, I might just go over here and like take some of these nodes. Erasing Strike, max this thing out. Yeah. Another possibility is like if you're self-casting Abyssal Echoes, you can take like this time route stuff. It gives you a time route chance, and then when you're balking stuff, you apply time rods, and then you can make better use of food for worms in the volatile reversal node. So that's an option if you wanted to take those nodes and abyssal echoes down here to give you time rod chance. But cool idea. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's keep up the pace and keep going. I don't know how to pronounce this, so if you're out there, welcome. This is a winter void night magic javelin build. They say they want to take advantage of the ability to trigger multiple magic spells to realize the magic javelin. Gain 20% attack speed, fill damage by triggering punishment. Punishments? Weapons trigger ice bombs to increase attacking efficiency. Because the weapon didn't get melee void damage. Okay, so they wanted to have like tier 7 melee void on it. Got it. Let's see what this thing is. Gonna be honest with you, there might be a language barrier on this one. I don't know what we're doing yet, but I'm excited. It sounds like they want to be a javelin crit build, like crit throwing javelin. Oh, how much corruption is this? 100? Got it, no problem. Okay, so I wonder for lunge. Are we like lunge plus javelin plus smite? I think that's what we're doing. But we'll have to take a look at the build planner for that because I can't make it out quite yet. Got it. I'm itching to look at the build planner. There's a boss kill. There's like the end of the echo. Oh, it's just a thing. Got it. All right. Punch. All right. Let's grab this over to the side and see what their current build is. Yeah. So what are they trying here? They are spell, void damage, anomaly, null portent. They wanted to have tier 7 flat void, so I assume they're doing like, you know, crit javelin stuff. What is this? Chance to cast smite, chance to cast smite, chance to cast smite. Okay. So they're... Okay, so we're lunge, javelin, smite. Javelin with the smite idols as well. And then we're taking these nodes, sure. I would have expected someone to take these nodes to like make it split. Like put like 1 point in Divine Fury or something. Why? Because it's fine. I don't know. So we took the extra attack speed nodes instead of the crit multi. I think that's fine as well. Do we have much crit? I guess we have these points for crit. I love that it's generic crit chance, not like melee crit chance or something. And then a very similar use of abyssal echoes, taking these nodes down here. Oh, we have no volatile reversal. Go. No volatile reversal and none of the crit nodes in anomaly. I suspect that our crit chance... Are we a Forge Guard? We're not a Forge Guard, so we don't get the throwing crit chance per dexterity. I think our crit chance is a little bit low, huh? Does this thing have crit on it? I literally don't know if this thing has crit on it. It does, all the way over here. So I think our crit chance is probably a bit low, huh? But it's a cool idea. So throwing crit javelin with spell... crit as well. Throwing crit javelin with spell crit as well. And they wanted to have flat melee void damage on the Bane of Winter. Slight of Anguish, throwing attack speed. Throwing attack speed. Looks like this build is like pretty early on. I'd like to see like a more fleshed out version of this. I don't mind what's going on. I just know like I want more. Throwing void damage here. So, like, the melee void damage... Does the melee void damage go to javelin? I don't think it does. If you have a spear equipped, added melee damage from the spear applies to javelin. Added melee damage from other sources has no effect. They should, like, would it really kill you, EHG? It says added melee damage from other sources has no effect, but, like, what if you just let it? Would it kill you? Like, are there really that many sources of added melee damage that it would kill you? I think they should do it. I think they should. They should do that. According to me and what I said right now. All right, we're going to keep going. We have 3 more to go. All right, got it. So this would be what, number 9, I think? 10? 10? I think this is number 10. So this is Gianism. We have a damage over time Spellblade. Sweet. There's some videos uploaded to Discord. So let's take a look at the video first. Got him. What's a dot Spellblade? Never in my life, Chad. Well, I guess Frostbite. Wait, okay. So sometimes in my life. Periodically during my life. Oh, you know what? That's actually interesting. Regarding chance to Frostbite on hit with cold spells, Void Winter Bolt's a cold spell. Okay. It's just a thing that procs. I wonder if that's what they're doing. What's guzzling their mana so much? Am I a big dummy?
I cannot do that.
Oh, maybe they're proccing Ice Barrage. And I just haven't noticed it yet. Because I don't have an attention span. Let's see. Dummy test? You got a dummy test, dude? The only person with a dummy test. They know the only thing that matters. It's the dummy test. It looks like a Frostbite build. Kind of low damage ticks, it looks like. But it could just be like a young character, right? Let's close out of this. All right, so damage over time Spellblade. Let's grab their build planner and we can read. So they say, I have many iterations of Spellblade, so I tried many things. Most of them were not good, but I finally settled on this version. Is this good? I think it is, but unfortunately not with Bane of Winter. Lol. I appreciate honesty. TLDR, we scale dot and intelligence, proc as many skills as possible with Mana Strike and Frostclaw for a chance to fire Frost on a hit, and our melee attack speed with enchant weapon. Basically, I want tier 7 melee. I wanted tier 7 melee void damage and attack speed, but I was not able to get one with 2 LP, unfortunately. Originally, I planned on using Wing Guards with melee attack speed. No luck. But I had a tier 7 dot atrophy sitting in my stash, so I ended up playing dot instead. I wanted to use the spear to convert melee void damage for Fire Aura and Void Bolts for even more chance to proc Frostbite. Cool. All right. That's another idea to explore, I guess. Yeah, okay. Because Fire Aura is cold. Sure, dude. Current planner can get way more upgrades in terms of gear and passive points. I'm only level 88. I have nowhere near enough chance to apply Frostbite on hits. Around 70% CDR will give you a surge about 2 seconds. And you're invulnerable while surging, which is great. At least 180 attack speed. You get 10 Fire Aura stacks every 2 seconds, resulting in 30 stacks of Fire Aura to take advantage of the Dark Shroud of Cinders and full uptime of the enchant weapon. Cool. All right, so that's a neat idea. I wouldn't have gone for Fire Aura myself because I've spent way too much time making fun of Fire Aura to admit that I'm interested in exploring it. So let's see, melee attack speed, Bane of Winter, and we're just like a Rune Master, 27 points, Rune Master, Armor Shred. If we're taking the Armor Shred goes to Frostbite, we probably want like, you know, Armor Shred on your amulet, Armor Shred on your gloves, tier 7 Armor Shred on Bane of Winter, you know what I mean? Just like as much Armor Shred as you can get. So could have explored that more. But they said like only level 88. I get it. So Mana Strike. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I guess the cold conversion is relevant. If the cold conversion is relevant, does that make this thing shock transfer? Does the Mana Arc deal cold damage if you convert Mana Strike to cold? Hopefully, yes. If it doesn't, it shouldn't be here. But if it does, cool. Chat Weapon, Attack Speed, Frost Claw. If they're a Frostbite build, they probably don't care about spell damage. So it looks like maybe this Glamdring node might just be an artifact of an older iteration of the build. But we can probably trim this if we are not a Frostbite. Or sorry, if we are Frostbite, we can probably trim this. Flame Ward, damage reduction, stuff. More Fire Aura damage, the only node in the game, baby. And then Surge, giving us Fire Aura stuff, cold conversion. Got it. Just proccing things for us and being a good little skill. Cooldown cover speed. Cooldown cover speed. Fire Aura stuff. Alright. And then in Spellblade, we have the chance to apply chance to proc Frost Claw. We're not crit, so we don't care about this. Cooldown cover speed. Fire Aura, baby. Let's go. Cool. Alright. I like it. I like it. So they're trying to make use of the added melee cold damage applied to spells, because Fire Aura, spell, but they wanted to be like a void damage thing and play like void Fire Aura. So there's almost like two different builds going on here, right? One is the build they wanted to play, which was cold Fire Aura, scaling void damage with Dark Shroud of Cinders, and with this thing, putting tier 7 melee void on it. But what they actually ended up playing was like a Frostbite thing instead. So kind of hard to evaluate the builds because we're halfway between two of them, but cool ideas nevertheless. We have two more to take a look at. So here's build number 11. This is Wolf of Winter's Bane. Oh, it's got a cool name. Let's take a look at the text and then we'll watch a video. It's a rough proof of concept for a Tempest Strike Beastmaster that seeks to utilize the conversion of flat melee damage from Bane of Winter into flat spell damage. Tier 7 added lightning damage on the spear gets transferred to wolves. Oh, from the helmet. Sure. Okay. Cool idea. And the tree is designed to maximize the number of cold skills, which they do. True. This feeds us storm stacks from Gathering Storm, which we expend using Tempest Strike and a high attack speed Stormbolt delivery system. The choice of boots, chest, relics are supposed to be defensive things. Didn't really work out, but I think we could have had better affixes. Foot of the Mountain does stuff. Got it. Endurance Threshold, Ward. Okay, so this person's also doing Foot of the Mountain plus Wall of Nothing, Vessel of Strife, I guess. Are they doing Vessel of Strife? But yeah, converting your Foot of the Mountain dodge to Endurance into Ward Decay Threshold into Ward per second. Cool stuff. Yeah, all right. In a perfect world, I hope to get enough dodge that while standing still, always have capped endurance. Didn't really get there. Cool idea. I like it. This is the second build we saw using the Foot of the Mountain. Plus Wall of Nothing. Build is rough. Shout outs to Al Weezy, who took the time to look at everything, gave me some motivation to finish working on this project. I'm off to play a World Splitter build. Okay, so let's go watch two videos here. Let's go here first. I guess I'll load up this video in the background. But this is punching the dummy. Give me some good damage ticks. What do you got? Summon wolf. Do it. That's a lot of wolves. So as long as he has one stack of Stormbolt, the wolves will generate more stacks for him. Which frankly, I think it's really cool. Big auto bomber vibes. So this is like without clicking any of the buttons. Yeah, look at that. He attacked once. He's got 15 stacks. Beautiful. And then he can... Can he Tempest Strike? Can he Tempest Strike to consume all the stacks? He can Tempest Strike to consume the stacks, but he can't consume them fast enough because the wolves keep making more of them. Oh! Oh, the synergies, the synergies. Okay, let's see. Come on, show me. Big damage, big damage, big damage, big damage. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
This is a mercy. Shatter.
Come on.
Behold the rage of winter.
So he's got like 800 endurance threshold.
Do not stand in my way.
Okay. A lot of crits, a lot of damage numbers, a lot of doggos. Big fan of doggos.
Rise, my fallen champions. Aid me.
And then just like 4 more immunity phases. And then this guy. I wasn't paying. Is this like 100 corruption, right? Does it matter what the corruption is? It looks good. I like it. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pause this and keep going. Actually has good damage. Love hearing that. So bag demonstration stuff. Let's go like this. So Howl of the West Wind. Yeah, cool idea. Where is it? Chance on hit with lightning skills to grant your wolves additional melee lightning damage equal to your melee lightning damage. So you put melee lightning damage on the Bane of Winter, and then your added melee damage, including the melee lightning damage, applies to cold spells, and you are a cold Gathering Storm build. Chance on hit with lightning skills. So you're a cold Gathering Storm build, cold Storm bolts, chance on hit with lightning skills. Don't you need a lightning skill somewhere? Wait. Chance on hit with lightning skills, grant your melee lightning damage equal to your melee lightning damage. Don't you... I feel like I'm missing something. I'm going to ask Twitch chat real quick. Don't you need a lightning skill in order to grant wolves additional melee lightning damage? It's 360 corruption? Okay, so slightly higher than 100. Got it. I feel like I'm missing something. Chance on hit with lightning skills. Is Tempest Strike a lightning skill? Even if you remove all of this stuff? I guess it has every tag under the sun. It's an everything skill. Alright. How foolish of me to assume that if you removed the lightning thing, it took off the lightning tag. Reading is holy, that's a lot of points in Beastmaster. Alright. So you just clicked on everything. Got it. Sure. Wall of Nothing, tier 7 attunements. Movement speed on foot of the mountain. So okay, so we're a Vessel of Strife, Wall of Nothing, foot of the mountain build. Second build that we saw using this trio. Is this the trio that's bugged against Aberoth, where you take no damage? Maybe. I'm not sure. This is a really cool idea. I like it. I can't sit here and evaluate how the defenses work. Like we have 1600 life. I guess we have some ward as well. I don't know. Take it. Take it. Come on. I want to see you take a hit. Don't avoid the slam. I want you to get punched. So we have 40 strength, and we're a health regen strength thing here. What's our health regen? 66? 66 health regen. Tier 7 mana, tier 7 attunement. Mana stuff. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. Let's pull this back over here. That's a pretty spicy idea. We have one more build submission at the very end here. This is number 12. This is Abracabro? Abracabro. Okay, not everything's a Spanish word. Perma, Werebear, Crit, Bane of Winter. Sick. There's no video for this. I cry inside. So I guess we'll just read. I wanted to be able to take advantage of all the melee and spell damage, multiple damage types, but without scaling each one individually. So I made this one that scales pure % increased damage and crit. Cool. I assume this is like strength stacking, Werebear, +1 spell damage per strength, maybe? Perma Werebear, take advantage of the 20% global crit. I use Swipe, Fear Leap, Warcry, proc Maelstroms, more global buffs. 450% increased damage while transformed from a tier 7 on the helmet. It's actually kind of a lot. It's got some ramp from the Berserker nodes for attack speed. Good leech. Sure. Honestly, I kind of want to see a video of it. This is one of the things that we talked about early on. I wonder if they're using Morning Frost. Okay, no Morning Frost. No Morning Frost degeneracy. They're using Locket of the Forgotten Knight because it has chance to timer out on hit. I think that's a bait. I'd rather just use a different helmet instead, or a different amulet instead. 28% chance. So it gives you 2? It gives you 3% to like 2.8% more damage. Is that it? All right, listen. It could have been better. It gives you flat crit for the Void Winter Bolt itself, but I think just using this, especially if you're not a Void Knight, even if you are a Void Knight, I'd probably skip out on it. But I think Locket of the Forgotten Knight by itself is just not going to quite cut it. But we have Aspect of the Panther, bunch of health regen stuff. So no health regen there, no Vessel of Strife. I kind of want to see like a swipe Vessel of Strife build. I just think they work together so well. Warcry stuff, attack speed, crit chance stuff here. Kind of looks like a generic build. I'd love to see it in action. Like even generic looking builds like this, I want to see what they look like so that we can have like a baseline for evaluating other stuff in the future. So it doesn't have to be like only the spicy builds get YouTube videos. Like even generic stuff, so we can know what a good starting point is for a build. I think that has a lot of utility. So I would like to see that, but it's hard to evaluate this. And it doesn't look particularly spicy, but I'm glad that people feel compelled to submit the builds, because that's great. So at this point, we're going to make a straw poll, because that's why we're all here, baby. Straw poll. What do you got? We got 12 submissions. Let's see. Lack of a video means ineligible to win. Okay, so if there's no build video, I'm not going to put it in the straw poll. Got it? Let's go ahead and make one of these right now. So first up, we have Dreads. What do you like? Mana Strike. Mana Strike. Frost Claw. No Morning Frost. I'm just gonna call it that. Next up was Yamanoki, but there's no video there, so we're not gonna go over it. Gavarian had the only Warlock build. So this is Gav's Warlock Harvest. Get this thing out of here. Warlock Harvest. This one had a video. So this was Icicle, Shatter Strike Icicles. Wander had a video here. Before you roll your eyes, Lamo. What was this? I have to pull it back up real quick. This was Spellblade, Morning Frost. Got it. Spellblade, Morning Frost. Shatter. No icicles. Next up was Void Winter Bolt. Warpath VK. Void. I'm gonna abbreviate Void Winter Bolt. Void Winter Bolt. Void Knight's Warpath. Golda's builds with the Void Winter Bolts deal the majority of the damage. Got it. Cool. I like it. Let's see. We've got a few more of these to punch up. So this is H2Os. This was a Forge Guard. We said we liked the defense. This is the first one that we saw with Vessel of Strife, Wall of Nothing, boots. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it like defense uniques, because I think that'll help people remember what the defense unique thing was for H2O's build. And then what else was it? Oh, this was like, what's the node called in Javelin where they hail down from the sky? Spiked bombardment. I'm gonna call it bombardment javelin. Because there were other people who used javelin that didn't take the bombardment node. Mazaxi. And this is a Bane of Winter Forge Guard. The build low-key sucks. Well. Smite converted to void. So this is a Forge Guard with Attunement Void Smite. Attunement Void Smite. And that was like the cool thing they were doing. And the next one is Jack Frost. Is a Void Beams. Okay. I think this is the only Void Beam thing, so I can just stop at that. This, I don't know this person's username. And I don't want to call them Chinese. I don't know what to call them instead. I'm going to call it Javelin T7 Melee Void. Throwing crit. I'm going to call it that. And then there were 1, 2, 3 more, I think. We have Gianism next. Gianisms, Frostbite, Spellblade. Then we had Joe. This was Joe's Wolf, Gathering Storm, Tempest Strike. The Wolf build. And at the very end here, we had a build that had no video, so I'm not going to type that in. Cool. Multiple choice. We can allow multiple choice, it's fine. All right. Advanced options. What do you got? Let's see. Selection of multiple options. I am going to allow between 1 and 3 votes. Require names. No. Let's go 3. Like this. Allow comments. No. Share button. No. Public after end dates. Okay. So I think we're good. Hope so. Don't crash. Whew. Don't crash. Don't do it. Don't break my heart. All right, so this is for you, Twitch chat. Just for you, nobody else. Click, click. All right, bam, bam, bam. I will pin this message in chat. I encourage you, if you're hanging out, whether you're in Discord or not, whether you're new to the stream or not, I encourage you to jump over and see which ones you like. So remember, these are all linked in Discord right now. You can poke around. I'm going to step away from my computer for like 5 minutes or so, grab some tea for myself because my throat hurts just a little bit. And when we come back, I will announce the winners for the contest. So thanks for being here. Be sure to vote, just like real life. Be right back. All right. Let's see. What do we got? All right. I said I was getting tea. I lied to you. I ate cookies. Show results. Click. All right. We have 3 clear winners. Love to see it. That makes my life very easy. We have a clear first, a clear second, and a clear third. Let's talk about the top 3 builds and see what's going on here. So, coming in third place, we have... Drum roll, please. Can I scroll? Can I find it fast enough? Coming in third place with H2O's build. This is the Sloth Javelineer. This build was it had a unique set of defenses. This person bugged out by accident and took no damage from the Pinnacle boss. Cool. But any build that gets a good bug fix gets a vote in my opinion as well. So this person was using Wall of Nothing with the Foot of the Mountain, unique pair of boots, and Vessel of Strife. Cool, like converting your dodge into endurance threshold, converting your endurance threshold into war decay threshold, scaling health regen into your war generation from Vessel of Strife. Very cool stuff. And then in terms of the javelin, they were using it, or sorry, in terms of the spear, the Bane of Winter, they were using that to juice up their javelin and smite. So let's take a look at their build once again. Oh, sorry, I lied, not smite. Was it just javelin crit? It was javelin crit. Yeah, it was just a javelin crit build. There we go. Javelin crit. Did they have spells? Oh, their spell was the Void Winter Bolt itself. Cool. And then the Void Winter Bolt was cold, so it applied the blind and chill for this. To give us more armor off this. Okay, so they didn't need to get chill or get blind from a different source because they're using that interaction there. Cool. All right. And then we didn't have Sigils of Hope, but we did have the best skill in the game, so surprise. Yeah, I like it. Kind of like a lunge combo build. And then Foot of the Mountain, some very unique, interesting defenses here. Neat. All right, so coming in second place, what? Scroll. A crit, singularity, chaos bolt, harvest, melee, spell damage, both at the same time, warlock build, scaling poison damage into your crits. How cool is that? So Gav's build here was a warlock harvest build, scaling dexterity. Dexterity gives you % increased damage on your Void Winter bolts. Dexterity also allows you to cast your chaos bolts and have them proc harvest for you. So there's some good overlap in that. Let's take a look at their good gear planner, what they were aspiring to with their build. This was, yes, a Morning Frost, but also using dexterity to proc their harvests. And then they were thinking about getting tier 7 melee cold damage, and that would apply to both the spells, things like Thonic Fissure. I guess Thonic Fissure, it'd be cold or void. So not, the cold damage wouldn't apply to Thonic Fissure, but Chaos Bolt is a cold spell, so it would apply there. And then it also applies to, of course, the melee attack off of Harvest here. So that's pretty neat. That was the second place build. Remember, this also had this really cool interaction between Singularity and Acid Bane, and then scaling % increased damage off of scaling % increased poison damage while you have Aura of Decay to juice up the Acid Bane node in Thonic Fissure. Cool stuff. Makes your brain feel nice and big. And the first place build is one that definitely deserves it. I think is a pretty interesting take on how to make use of the spear. And it's not just using the spear in like an otherwise good build, but really trying your hardest to build around it and make something cool happen. So let's fast forward to Joe's build. The #1 build, baby. This is the Wolf of Winter's Bane. Look at that. So this is a Gathering Storm, Tempest Strike, Wolf Pack build. Really trying to make the most of all the weird stuff that's in this build. So remember, one of the tricky things about Bane of Winter was harmonizing like the spell plus melee thing. And this build did spell plus melee and used a minion component as well, which is pretty neat. So let's take a look at their build planner. So we remember what exactly we're celebrating here for first place. They had a whole bunch of wolves, and they were using Bane of Winter plus Howl of the West Wind, a unique item and a piece of synergy that I didn't even consider when I was looking through all the things that you might see in this build contest 1 week ago. So love to see this kind of stuff. This is the second build that we use using Wall of Nothing, Foot of the Mountain, and Vessel of Strife. So maybe that's something that we should explore in other builds in the future. Having those 3 items is pretty cool. And then, of course, using the Howl of the West Wind along with Bane of Winter, just kind of tying the room together. I love it. I do love it. So, thank you everyone for participating. If you were here live in Twitch, thank you for voting. I'd love to see that. The winners of this build contest will, of course, get gift subs to my channel here on Twitch as a celebration. But more importantly, they'll get the adoration of you and the other people on YouTube and Twitch and on Discord for having a huge brain and figuring out what we can do with these off-the-wall unique items that EHG keeps adding to the game. So that's it for me. This might turn into an edited video. It probably will not turn into an edited video because it's a lot of work. But I will add the YouTube chapters because I know you love to poke around and see what people have been doing with these builds. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. See you next time.